Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, I'm very excited today. I have been wanting to show a saw which I have for a long time, and she has taken such a long time to have complete. So this is one of my very early Homelite saws. This is the Homelite C5, so early 1960s saw, 1962 to 65-ish. I think some dates say 64. Just felt rain. My plans might be scuppered yet. So I'm a huge fan of this version of the Homelite saw. Rare creature as well. Its later brother would be the C51 and 51G, and then the C52, so they kind of staggered from crossover to 64 for the 51 to 67, and then I think the 52 was from 1972. So all the same, 50.8mm piston, 77cc, I think they're 35mm stroke, and looks very similar to the C51, its later brother, but with just a few really interesting design tweaks. Pull start housing is very different on the C51. It uses the old same mechanism that you get onto the early 07S steels, the early Dan arms, some of the early Clintons. They all shared exactly the same mechanism where the legs would toggle out and then it would grip a friction ring. Its later brother probably is a much better design in that regard. It goes to a beautiful roller bearing set as it sits around a separate shaft on the crank. But so had no end of trouble trying to get this saw. For the last 2 years, this saw has never been running correctly. So I finally the other day had a refurbished ignition system arrive, which has taken so long to get, and was it £60 well spent? Well, I'm going to find out and see what you think in a minute. So, replacement ignition setup. It was missing one of the original felling spike with the correct bolt, so bought that. Bought a brand new carburetor for her, which is an HL, this is a 141, nearly £50, but it did solve another load of problems. And then the last piece I've been waiting was for an original Oregon Supertronic guide bar with an original period semi-chisel branded steel chain. So it arrived yesterday. I was itching yesterday to do the video, but I just ran out of time. So the bar, which has travelled now around the world to get to me, has been described as unused and nearly perfect, and the tip symmetry is fantastic. So she is finally all together, and so she's interesting. She's got a couple of the design on this one compared to the later C51 as well. Some really unusual changes. Slight carburation change, different crank, not stroke or not piston dimensions, but the actual width of the crank is different as the models change, because the starter assemblies are different as well. And so this ignition problem she had has kept her, in terms of engine condition, has kept her fantastic, because nobody's been able to use her. So she's been with me a couple of years, and now for the first time today I can cut with her. Well, I hope I can cut with her. So I've got a tiny bit of wood set up, and all I did with the chain today was I've opened out the gullet, and it just looked like it had been, well, I've been told that it's sat for years and done nothing, but it's the original bar and chain off of one of these. So it's been sat, had a bit of surface rust, so I've taken the gullet out, probably 1/32 of an inch, so 3/4 of a mil, just shaved it out, just cleaned out the teeth, and I can't wait to see how she cuts. We'll try one initial cut on, what is this, about 12-inch larch, and so they can run anything up to a 30-inch bar. She's running a Supertronic 20-inch bar, 404 setup, and manual oiler, everything working on the saw. So she's had, my goodness me, she's had over £150 of bits spent on her. I even bought a genuine vintage fuel pickup for her, which has got 2 rubber cushions around the brass element, just because it's just nice to have it. Quite nice. I barely wait to see how she performs. They're such gorgeous, gorgeous engines. I love the construction, and all the original nuts and bolts all the way around. Okay, let's see how she cuts. Also, very interestingly, without talking too much, I cannot stress enough, if you're running any of these old engines, I chased an ignition problem on this saw, and the correct plug for the original C5 is a J6J Champion, and I have been running D6HS NGK, correct plug for over period saws, particularly like the 0707S, and that was the cause of one of the running problems for this particular engine. That plug with that coil just wasn't working properly, but I might do a video on that and show how it runs with the wrong plug, or how it doesn't run. Okay, here we go then. Kill switch, throttle lock, bit of choke, let's put that down. Okay, fantastic. Let me grab this other disc. Well, so that's taken 2 years of ownership to get her to the point where she's now complete, burbling and cutting. Could possibly be leaned out maybe a fraction, but there you go, that's the first time she's cutting wood. So the piece of wood I've got next to me here is so gnarly and knotty. Guys, let's try on a larger piece of wood. It's got to be done. I cannot describe how satisfying that is. After such a long time of not working and chasing ignition problems and fueling problems, and finally having all the bits and everything coming together. Wow, she is amazing. Right, let's try on something more appropriate. Okay. Switch. Oh, let's put it down. Here we go. Ah dear, wow. Well, she's approaching 60 years old. Didn't miss a beat. What is there to say? She cuts so fantastic. And they're really close to the semi-chisel chain. They just relentless, just pull through, just relentless. Guys, hope that's enjoyable. There she is. That's my newly finished Homelite C5, early 1960s saw, 77cc, 20-inch Supertronic bar, genuine steel chain with spectacular life, all original screws and fasteners all the way around, just spectacular.